All right. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's good. All right. Hold on a second here. All right. This is going. Fucking stupid. I gotta get rid of them. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Forward Media News. I'm your host, Dave Mead. Well, today on Spindle City Straight Talk, a little while ago, that was a quite a interesting conversation going on over there. Wow. And just wanted to, waiting for a couple of, people to actually come on, waiting for guests to come on. And so that way we can, have the conversation about, what was actually going on. So, yeah, so I'm just waiting for one of my co-host to come on. So just give it a few minutes. Yeah, that was a pretty that was quite interesting with Spindle City Straight Talk. I mean, it was hilarious. So waiting for Joe Oliveira to pop on too. So I hope he does pop on. So because I sent him an email very early on what was happening. Yeah, there was a letter. All citizens and residents near the MBTA train situation, particularly waived to see more cover layovers and stations. Please consider attending to the committee on public safety meetings on Monday, May 19th, to share the encounter issues. Dates on Monday, May 19th, 2021, time 5 p.m. Location, Fall River Fire Department Headquarters, Training Room, 140 Commercial Drive. Please reach out to Councilor Brad Kilby, Andrew Raposo, or Michelle Dion. If anybody wants to go to these places, hello, how you doing, Alfonso Hathaway? Yeah, I seen you on earlier, and it was quite a show today with the Spindle City Straight Talk. And yeah, so if anybody wants to go to those meetings, they can. And yes, in Massachusetts, let me see here. Massachusetts Democratic pushing for a $400 million tax on micro corporation, something like that, by Collins Youth of the State House News Services. A majority of lawmakers in both of the House and the Senate are now backing legislation and supporting and saying could bring an additional 400 million annual revenue for the state, raising a tax of some of the legislation by the H3110S20033 from the Senate, Jason Lawrence of the Worcester, and Representative Carol Gazal and Springfield, with the increase sharing to extent foreign profits that Massachusetts tax bills will of a federal government formal calling the global intangible law tax income of guilt. Massachusetts is currently taxed at 5% of GLTI when there's Anna. Maybe Anna can help me out with this. Hello, Anna.
Hello. What's going on?
Oh yeah, I mean that was quite a that
Show.
was quite a show over there with the
Yeah.
Single City Straight Talk.
Yep, that was
You
good.
know, and they were talking about stuff that um, that allegations that happened in the school committee. Whatever happened, I don't know. I mean, can you help me out with that? Because I know that you've been
Oh,
listening to
I don't,
some
I
of it.
don't, yeah, I don't know what the allegations are, but I did catch that I guess the superintendent for the schools in Swampscott ended up going to Fall River. Did you catch that?
Yep, I got that.
Yeah. Which I didn't know. Malone was his name. So is he still there down in
I
Fall
have
River?
no idea. I have no idea. I have
Uh,
no idea. I mean,
well, I don't know either, but this like the details of what's going on like in Fall River, I don't know, but we do know about Mara Healy
more Healy.
and
Yep.
and what she's doing with the illegals.
Yeah.
And
She's.
we know about that. We know about the taxes. We know it's unaffordable in Massachusetts. And we know about Mike Urban as well and his YouTube channel. He did something on Mara Healy's proposal of reducing the rate for the energy bills that Mass has. Well, he went over the whole thing and he said that it ends up being like hardly anything, like people are not going to save that much
No.
from what she's proposing. And I don't trust her anyway. I didn't read the thing. He had it. I didn't read it, but I don't like her at all. I think she's
No.
a
Me either.
liar. She's a
And I was just.
liar.
And I was just reading over here. She's pushing for 400 million tax. I'll send you the link if you want to, because you know more than I do. And so I'm going to send you the link on you. Take a look at it. She's pushing for $400 million. And
For
I
the
don't even know.
illegal, I know she's doing that.
Yeah, I just sent you. I just sent.
Mega corporations. What she's doing, I don't know if she's doing this on purpose or what. These corporations are going to leave the state. Like, she doesn't get this. She doesn't get this. Like, Massachusetts already has a problem with job growth. It's the worst in the country because
Yes, it
businesses are
is.
leaving. So now she wants to tax $400 million on the so-called mega corporations. This is like communism, socialism, fascism. I don't know what you want to call it. But does she not understand that by doing this, that these corporations are going to leave? She doesn't understand this. Like, people don't get this.
No, they don't. We're going to have a whole bunch of corporations leaving because of all this. Because it's just all this.
Taxing and taxing and taxing and taxing is not going to get anywhere. Like, these people, Mara Healy and those radicals that are in office, they're doing everything backwards. And the state is going to collapse. This can't be done because she is financing the illegals with taxpayer money. Without money coming in, with people leaving the state, how is this going to work? It isn't going to work.
No, it's not.
It's not going to work. And on the last show with Chip and CJ, they were talking about affordable housing. Let me turn on the light.
Come on in, Linda.
Hello, Miss Annalisa.
Hello.
Miss Linda. Have a seat. Yeah, Linda. Yeah.
I'm coming to the studio today.
Yeah. So
she's going to come and join our conversation.
Yeah, they were talking about the affordable housing and how it's in Somerset and it's not in Fall River. And
Yeah.
I bet you Swampscott has more so-called affordable housing than Fall River does because that's all they're doing in Swampscott. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
it.
for,
That's it.
but I mean, what a bunch of dum-dums. I'm telling you, sent a letter out to Somerset for affordable housing. What about Fall River? You
I
know?
don't know.
Can I make this up? Do
Yeah,
you need a beverage, David?
Yes, I do. I
So,
can.
well,
I need more than the beverage. Even listening to
the
this.
lemonade or the sumo, which you gonna take?
Do you remember the guy who said he needed something to drink after we were talking about the Mass GOP?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
This
remember that
this
one.
is from Aldi. Less than $1 for this.
Yeah, that was
No, but
funny.
I was just wondering because I've been hearing I heard CJ say something about allegations about what happened over at Durfee with the with some young girl or something. I mean, what happened over there?
Is this about the school? Are you talking about
Yeah,
the
I'm
school?
talking about the school. Yeah, when Paul
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. See, what they do is they keep all these things quiet. You're not going to hear these things because they don't want people to know.
Yeah, so I mean, these allegations. I mean, they got the stuff on file. They got all the paperwork. I mean, Chip and CJ.
Yeah, but I think that they were saying that it's never made public. All these things that are going on, even in Swampscott, it's all a big secret.
Yeah.
I think that that's how it is generally in Massachusetts. That's why you're having, I think, all these issues and all this secrecy is because they're not being held accountable and they're not doing what the constituents want. They're just doing whatever they want to do. They don't care what you've got to say.
Accountability is kryptonite for politicians.
What? Say that again?
I swear accountability is kryptonite for politicians.
The
with all these allegations, coming out in the school committee, and I'm even surprised that these things wasn't
That's my son's phone ringing.
in the inside the outside investigation. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this is like ridiculous.
You know what? Massachusetts is so corrupt that people that should be going to jail or being charged are not getting charged. There's a two-tier justice system. So
yeah,
and in Swampscott, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Shame.
It's a shame. That's horrible.
And it's not right, and it's happening in DC somewhat as well. These Congress people that went to New Jersey and they stormed the ICE detention center there. One was a congresswoman. She should be charged and she should be in jail or something, but she's not. There's video out there of her doing this. Why is she not in jail or being charged? What is going on here?
We don't even know. We don't even know.
You know what I'm saying? It's a mess. Okay. It's not right, because if these people were held accountable and they followed the law like they're supposed to, they wouldn't be doing these things.
Very true.
Very true.
They wouldn't be doing it, but she's been warned. That congresswoman has been warned that if she does it again, she's going to get arrested, which she should have been arrested because she assaulted an ICE
agent.
Yeah. We didn't get a warning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we were doing standouts in Swampscott, if you assaulted somebody, you were arrested.
Oh yeah, they put the cuffs on you, take you to jail.
That's right. They put the cuffs on you, and then you had to bail them out. Okay, to get them out, you had to pay. I don't know if it was $50 or something like that to get the person out of jail.
Man, no, and I think what CJ was saying that I think it was what Chip was saying that this was during when Mayor Paul Coogan was principal at the Durfee High School, and
Vice principal.
the vice principal, and Garvin Givens, Paul Givens,
Garvin.
Paul Garvin.
He was my classmate at Saint Jean Baptiste
and
many years ago.
and and he was an SRO over there at the time. So why is all this being brought up now? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, that's right. That's what I'm saying. You hear it after the fact. You hear it after the fact.
And so
when everything is all said and done, you know, Paul Coogan is the mayor now, and all these people have these positions. Then this crap comes out. But by the time the crap comes out, it's too late. Everybody's got what they want. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're in positions
it's
that
very true. Very true. Everybody's
these
got what they
people want. I don't know. I mean, it's just like with Sean Fitzgerald and Swampscott. It's like nobody voted for him in town. Nobody voted for the position in town. Somebody or some people threw this guy in Swampscott, and we had to deal with it.
Yeah.
So how is this even possible? How is it that these people are getting into these positions without being elected? Like I don't understand.
I don't
understand any of it. I don't understand any of it. And then you know, CJ mentioned that Malone, who's in Fall River, was in Swampscott. Well, Sean Fitzgerald went from Swampscott because he left and resigned last year. And he went over and applied for, he didn't do it in Swampscott, but he applied for another town management position for Danvers. Yeah. These people move around all over the place is my point. Do you know what I mean? Like they know who they are. And if they play the game, then they go elsewhere. Then they'll go elsewhere. Like Sean. Yeah. So because they do what they're told to do by whoever, I don't know who these people are, or they're getting paid or whatever, they move them and switch them all over the place.
Moving chess
pieces. So you keep seeing the same people over and over and over again. They're not being like elected. I don't think Sean Fitzgerald.
More like installed.
Huh?
More like installed.
So I mean, it's like it's happening. I think it's happening everywhere, like in Mass. You know, they're recycling. And where's the Mass GOP? Nowhere. Nowhere.
Well, there's nowhere to be found.
They're nowhere. Total crickets on the Republicans that are running for the governor. You got two, actually you have three with Aaron Picard, but they don't say anything about him. They don't say anything about Brian Shortsleeve, and they don't say anything about Mike Connelly. They don't say anything about any other offices that might be open and trying to get Republicans in office. They support absolutely no one.
Yeah.
Which includes the Republicans.
Yeah.
They don't, who are, like, what are they doing? They're just like lumps on a log. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what they are doing here. I just don't get it. They're doing nothing. They're doing absolutely nothing. They don't even come out and say, They don't say anything against Maura Healey. They don't talk about the issues. No. They don't try to help out the Republican candidates at all. They say nothing.
They don't. No. And they, and that's what sucks about it. You know what I'm saying?
It's bad. I mean, it
is bad.
It is. It's bad. And I really do think they are working with the Democrats. I don't think there's any question about it. Even Mark Lombardo said it.
Mark Lombardo, yep.
I might.
He said the same thing. The Mass GOP, they do nothing. They're like nothing.
And what were you going to say, Linda?
I remember an article written back around the time of the 2020 election. Or was it around the time of the gubernatorial elections? One of those years, in 2020, 2022. It was exposed in the Boston Broadside
Oh God.
that mass GOP legislators
Mm-hmm.
made a devil's bargain with with incumbent Democrats to vote for them in
Right.
exchange for bipartisan support on bills.
Yes, I remember that. Yep. That's what they do.
They came back
They
and
do
their party's own interest.
And they do it in the local elections as well. Not just on the state level. They do it in the local elections.
It's crazy.
It is. It's ridiculous. It's
So why is
yeah.
one party going to support its opposition? Does it make it? Please make it make sense.
I know. I don't know. I don't even know where the Mass GOP is a big disappointment. Very big disappointment. They have such an opportunity right now because Massachusetts is in a state of disarray because of the Democrats. This is a great opportunity for them to step in and say, look, if you vote for the Republicans will lower the taxes. They will make the state affordable. They will bring down the energy prices. They don't say anything.
No.
I just got an email from Liberty Utility that they're going to increase rates by 50%.
Oh my gosh.
57%.
Increase
Yeah.
50% what? Of what?
57% increase. I'm going to wait. Hold on. I'm going to go to it. I just got this yesterday.
Yeah,
This
and
is insanity.
why would Mayor Paul Coogan now? Why would they send a letter to Somerset about the affordable housing?
I don't know. I don't get that
Didn't
either.
we just get done talking about that a couple of weeks ago?
I don't know what is going on with that. I really don't.
Send a letter to Somerset. What a bunch of dumb.
I don't understand that. I don't. There's a logic of it. I don't know. I just don't. Taunton is another. Taunton has a Republican mayor.
Yeah, Taunton does have a Republican mayor,
and they're a mess as well.
Yeah,
it's a woman.
It's a woman. Oh
Yeah.
my God! Oh, Lord have mercy.
And she.
I don't have an issue with I don't have an issue with a woman. I don't have an issue with her being a Republican, or any whatever party she is. I don't have an issue with that.
Oh, she is. She's a Republican.
And
let me see if I can
Republican, so she's a mess.
Well, she's a rhino. Okay, she's a rhino Republican, and she
a rhino and Republican name only. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember we used to call Charlie Baker that? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
he said he was a Republican, but a Democrat name only.
Right.
So,
well,
yeah.
Most of them are. Most of them are. The Republicans on Beacon Hill, there are 30 of them. And 6 of them are the only ones that voted against the budget. 6. That's it. Just a handful. Everybody else voted for the budget. Everyone. The Democrats and 24 of the Republicans all voted for the budget that is going to start on July 1st, which means more money for the illegals. Taxes are going to stay the same or they're going to go up. Energy prices aren't going to change. Nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change. Mark Lombardo tried to get an amendment on that bill where he wanted to lower taxes and not tax tips and overtime pay. Everybody squashed it. The Republicans
the audit we asked for, the referendum, we didn't get that either. They'll say, it's a constitutional crisis. We can't permit that.
Right. So that's another issue as well. See how they don't, this is total, like I said before, corruption. They're hiding all this information.
Oh,
They don't
man.
want people
Jeez.
to know. Just like Doge, you know what they did to
Oh.
Elon Musk and Doge. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. This corruption is bad. I mean, it's bad. And to me, it's like seems like obvious, especially with the housing situation and this affordable housing, which is a joke. There is no such thing as affordable housing. They just say that so that they can get their developer friends work, and they must be getting a cut out of it. They have to be. How else? Why are they pushing this so much?
I don't know why they're pushing it.
And the Baker administration started this crap.
Yeah. Thanks to Charlie Baker for starting this.
Yeah, he started it. Mike Keneally made the law. And then you've got now Brian Shortsleeve, who is saying the right things, but he ran the MBTA. He's also in on this law, which he says he's going to.
Ain't he running for governor of Massachusetts?
Yeah, he's running right now, Brian Shortsleeve.
How good is he?
I don't know. He worked with the Baker administration, and he was the MBTA head. So they're the ones, I believe, that gave the contract to the Chinese government to fix the Boston subway.
Yeah, oh boy, yeah. I remember
because
That felt wrong to me.
so he's with the he used to work with the MBTA. That's what they did. Okay, and they have headquarters in Springfield. The Chinese do, and they hang and they've got the Chinese flag flying on American soil. These are like our enemies. They shouldn't be doing this.
They shouldn't even have the Chinese communists.
That's right.
Hanging around here, yeah.
Right. So you've got two Republicans, one who does not like Trump, and the other one who does, who says he supports President Trump.
Did you hear about Maura Healey meeting with a Chinese Communist Party official?
Yeah, I saw that.
She violated federal law.
She also did you see the one with when she went to Canada?
Canada. Is
Canada
she? There's not something right going on up there with that woman. Hello.
I mean,
what's going on over here?
No,
I mean, what is going on up here? You know what I'm
there
saying?
is not.
She's out there in the Canada courts. Okay, what is she doing in
She's
Canada?
she's trying to get trade deals. She's a state,
Right.
not federal. She has no authority.
Yeah, she has no authority to do that. That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure when President Trump comes back from the Middle East and they get wind of this, they're going to do something about it. I'm sure that they're going to say something.
Make no excuses.
Yeah.
Because Trump is cutting federal funding. Oh, she has to raise taxes. Well, if you comply in the first place, you wouldn't have a problem.
If she would have complied with Trump's deportation policy, then this wouldn't have never been a problem. Then she would have never had to raise taxes. And she would have complied to it.
I don't know if she never would have, but
Complied with it.
I don't know. You know, I just think at this point, from what I've seen from Swampscott, it's a total joke. Swampscott is a total joke at this point. Okay, somebody on the other show said that she loved Fall River. She grew up there, and it's sad seeing what's going on. I feel the same way with Swampscott. It's sad to see what is going on in Swampscott, especially in my precinct, where they are building these units that is just destroying, and in my opinion, ruining that section of town. So, and these people, the board, the select board of Swampscott, don't care. They don't care. Okay, no. They're getting rid of the businesses. They got rid of a convenience store and put in a marijuana dispensary.
Yeah.
Like what? How many marijuana dispensaries does a little town need? We have 3 of them. For what? I don't understand.
We have a whole bunch of them down here.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you trying to say here? Getting rid of a convenience store to put in a marijuana dispensary. That doesn't sound like a very good exchange to me.
No,
It's
no.
like, why don't you just leave the convenience store alone and leave it as it was? Like, what? Why do they have to like change? They are just turning the town upside down. And it started with Sean Fitzgerald. That's it.
Well, they don't want people zoned out so they don't even pay attention to what's going on around them.
Yeah. But,
I mean,
you know,
it's
they-
ridiculous. And I heard CJ say something about Gavin Newsom. What's going on with him?
Gavin Newsom?
Gavin Newsom. Was he the senator?
Oh,
or
well,
something?
he's another one. With,
Oh, he's the governor.
yeah,
California.
he wants to give health insurance to the illegals.
Oh, wonderful.
He wants to do all these things for the illegals. And the state is just, I think it's bankrupt. People are leaving that state as well because of the taxes. And he said, and that on that show, CJ and Chip said it that the Democrat-run cities and states are a mess, not the Republican ones, the Democrat ones.
The Democrat states,
And it's
yes,
true.
really a mess.
And it's true. They are a mess because, like in Massachusetts, they have, you know, the radicals running the show. They have the radicals running the show. So
Yeah, but Harvard loses its federal funding.
yeah, and they're losing more.
I
And
don't
they're
feel sorry
losing
for
more.
them at all.
And they shouldn't even be getting federal funding. They've got enough money. They don't need our
It
taxes.
would be private college.
Private college,
Yeah.
yep. They shouldn't
Right.
be.
So they don't need it. So I think that the Republicans in Congress want to defund Planned Parenthood as well, which would be great.
Well, they want to defund Planned Parenthood. Go ahead.
Because that's another taxpayer-funded abortion clinic, and it's like, why does the taxpayer have to pay for this? If a woman wants an abortion, go pay for it yourself. Why does the taxpayer have to pay for this? I don't get it.
I mean,
I
if
don't
you
get
want it, go do it yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
pay for it yourself. You got yourself into this mess. Why does the taxpayer have to bail you out?
Well, taxpayers and the
Especially if
taxpayers
it's against a conscience to support it.
you know?
I mean,
But
it's like, why are we rewarding people to do these things that they shouldn't be doing in the first place? Or doing it intentionally, especially if they're doing it intentionally, knowing that they can just go get an abortion. No, this has to stop. This nonsense has to stop. It really does. It has to stop. So in Taunton, I mean, your mayor was talking about Somerset and affordable housing. Well, Taunton is another. Taunton has affordable housing. Okay, they have all this crap, just like they do in Swampscott. So, you know.
Yeah,
But-
that was so prospect. My active in politics up there was Republican.
Yeah, I think it's her. I think her last name is O'Donnell.
O'Donnell.
Oh,
Yes,
O'Connell.
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 Sean O'Connell.
She has
Sean
blonde,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like a bob.
Yeah.
So she last year was arrested for assaulting her husband.
Yeah, I heard
What?
that. Yeah, remember we were talking about
What
that,
happened there?
and she was arrested for assaulting her husband.
So they now want a media outlet in that area wants the footage. They want the body cam footage of the arrest made to the mayor. But
Really?
they won't but they won't release it. Even though by law they can, but they won't.
They won't release that. Of course
No.
not.
And then you said, why is it in Fall River we're just hearing about these allegations? Well,
Yeah, why are we just hearing about these allegations?
Well,
I know. Personally, I like to know. You know what I'm saying? I
right,
want to know, why are we hearing about these now?
Well, in Taunton,
No.
just saying that they won't release the information.
Same thing with
We're-
Fall
we're
River.
not
Fall
gonna
River
know.
won't
We're not
release the
gonna know.
information.
Yeah,
Fall
we're not.
River will not have an outside investigation. They will
Right.
not. Okay.
Right.
They talk about the police chief thing too.
And they talked about the police chief thing too.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
mean,
think
this
about that?
it's basically the same playbook all over the place in that state. Okay, they won't release footage, they won't give out information. If there's a politician involved, forget it. They are protected by the police, by the judicial system, and the people in the state are getting screwed from it because we don't know anything. So we think everything is fine. Okay, we think we live in fairyland in Massachusetts, but it's not.
It's not fine.
So in Taunton, they have a developer. Okay, in Taunton, they have a developer for the affordable housing, and it's called Gray Star. That's the name of the developer. Well, Gray Star. Well, now they're facing federal lawsuits.
Ooh. Oh. Ruh-roh. Ooh. So what's the lawsuit?
Well, let me read it to you. The developer Gray Star is also the future landlord and property manager for this particular project, which is the 42-acre Wintonton Mills complex.
Oh.
On Wintonton Street, $150 million proposal to convert the 390-unit market rate housing development. See, now they said market rate, not affordable housing. They said market rate. Okay.
Well, it's advertising.
Ooh, false advertising.
So I don't know. Again, these are all play on words that they do: affordable housing and market rate. Okay, because affordable housing does have market rate units in them. Okay, so Gray Star is presently the subject of 2 federal lawsuits.
I return. Excuse me.
She's gonna go start
My
my
son
son's
has an alarm going
alarm.
off. He's off at church with his grandfather, so I gotta turn it off.
So there's 2 lawsuits by the feds for the developer in Taunton for market value units. The Taunton Daily Gazette reached out to the representation of Gray Star for comment after first being directed to a crisis management firm. The Gazette was redirected to Garrett Derderian, the head of external communications, who said the corporation won't be participating in the story. No comment. No comment from Gray Star.
No comment from
project.
Gallery.
All right, so the lawsuit is about Gray Star versus the Federal Trade Commission. So they're lying about something, okay? Like Linda said, the Federal Trade Commission, in coordination with Colorado Attorney General, filed a lawsuit against Gray Star, alleging Gray Star, in its roles as landlord and property manager, charges tenants hidden fees beyond the advertised prices of apartment at properties all across the country. So they'll say the rent starts at $1,200.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say $1,200, and people go and they sign it. But then what happens after they sign the lease? It's not $1,200 anymore. It goes up to $1,800, $1,900, $2,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Okay, so this is what they're doing. In a written release, the FTC says consumers often don't discover these fees until after they have signed a lease or moved in. This is what these developers are doing. This is what they're doing. They false advertise low rents, and then they get you, but then they put the market value on them. And in Swampscott, a 1-bedroom is $2,000.
You said that.
Right. So the FTC is suing Greystar for deceptively advertising low monthly rents only to later saddle tenants with hundreds of dollars of hidden junk fees. Because of Greystar's deceptive advertising and hidden fees, tenants are on the hook in their lease for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, more than they anticipated that their apartment would cost. Through their actions, Greystar is thwarting apartment hunters from comparison shopping and choosing a home that fits within their budget. This is what their developers are doing. Okay, there's no more competition. I told you before that
is shady.
Yeah, that affordable housing that they talk about is there's nothing affordable about it. So it's not a good thing. You don't want any type of housing when this is just a mess. This is just corruption. Okay, this is all corruption. And so it said Greystar has gotten attention for concern about transparency of the fees. But they also collude with the others so that there is no competition.
Yeah.
Basically price fixing?
Yes, they're price fixing, exactly.
Price fixing,
Basically,
yeah. What a
legal
shame.
monopoly.
Price fixing.
So it ends up being, a 1-bedroom apartment ends up being $1,950 a month. I said $2,000 in Swampscott, so it's very close. A 1-bedroom. 1 bedroom. They say they're not hiding any fees. Of course, that's what they're saying. But in the article, it also says that they're colluding with the others so that there's no competition like there used to be. Do you remember when you would go get an apartment?
Yep, I remember, yeah.
You go from one place
best
to
price. Best deal.
Yeah, you could go from one place to another and you could get a deal or the rent might be lower. Well, that's not happening anymore. It's not happening. It doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't exist anymore because the government has gotten involved and they're colluding.
Yeah.
And these companies are colluding with each other so that the rates are all the same across the board.
Yeah. They're including with one another. I noticed when I was on a live stream, someone was talking about rents. Yes, it was Adeline. She was talking about the rents. Rents are really out of control. I mean,
and I don't agree with the guy who said, "Oh, we need rent control." No, that just destroys any incentive to improve properties of building.
Right? No, you don't want rent.
I totally don't want that.
Rent control. Oh my God.
Well, see, to me, I don't know what, when she says that it's out of control, because like I said, in Swampscott, $2,000 for a 1-bedroom is out of reach for a lot of people. I don't know what it is in Fall River. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Well, let me see what Fall River rent. Let me see what Fall River rents are.
Going rates.
See what the going
Well, this is what I want to read this paragraph on this article saying how there's no more competition. To RealPage, the greater good is served by ensuring that otherwise competing landlords rob Americans of the fruits of competition. Lower rental prices, better leasing terms, more concessions. RealPage, this is the app that they use. It's called RealPage. RealPage replaces competition with coordination. It substitutes unity for rivalry. It subverts competition and the competitive process. It does so openly and directly. That's what the complaint says. So they have an app that's called RealPage that these developers use They all use the same page, real page, which is an app, and they set the prices so that they're all the same all across the board, no matter where anybody goes. That's what they're doing. That's affordable housing. That's what they call affordable housing. So what's the going rental rate for Fall River for a 1-bedroom?
The going rate for 1-bedroom, last time I heard, it was for at least $2,000.
Let me
In
look that
Fall
up.
River?
And
Let
Fall
me look
River,
that up.
I don't know. I'm just taking a guess. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
I don't want to guess. I want data.
Well, Linda's going to look it up because she wants accurate evidence.
No, the going rate, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Going rate about $1,583.
How
A
much?
lot varies. 1,583. A lot varies on location, size, and features.
Okay, so it's 1,500. Okay, so yours.
No, it can range from 1,595 to 4,700.
Yeah, it depends how many bedrooms though, but a 1-bedroom is about 1,500 or so. Okay,
Yeah.
so
About
that's probably,
$1,500.
so that's expensive as well. That's expensive.
Don't be surprised if people are doubling up to afford living spaces.
I mean, and then you put the cost of living on top of that. How are people going to make it in that state? They're not going to.
They
No.
can't. That's why we
That's
got
why
some.
and who's extras? People will be starting to pack up and move out.
I mean,
Right.
even the rich people are moving out of here.
Well, yeah, because of the taxes, because they tax them too much. And now Maura Healey wants to tax the mega corporations, whatever that means. So,
The mega
I mean,
corporation.
she's making it from bad to worse.
It sure is. And
from bad to worse.
And you know what she's going to end up doing? Amazon's going to end up leaving. Amazon's going to end up leaving.
She's going to drive the jobs away.
She's going to drive so much jobs away, and we're not going to have nothing. She's going to drive all the jobs away, and we're not going to have anything.
And you know what you're going to have is government control. That's what you're going to have.
Government control. That's what
you're going to have, because that's how they are. They're communists. Okay, so they're going to have control, and they're ruining everything. They're just ruining it. They're ruining. They've already ruined Swampscott.
Let me see. Somebody just said. I don't like said something. And most people who live in Fall River can't afford rent, and this thousands, they brutally serving paycheck to paycheck. But she's right.
Barely surviving, she's saying.
Barely surviving.
Barely surviving.
Barely surviving.
Oh, surviving. That's what she said. Well, yeah, that's what I said. That's what we said.
Well, the people in Fall River are barely surviving on what they make and what they get. You know, a lot of people have to go out there and supplement their income. You know, maybe get another. You know, if one person has one job, they have to get 2 jobs. Okay, you know, if they don't have,
then you're still getting taxed. Even so, you get 2 jobs in Massachusetts. You're getting taxed twice on your paycheck, right? You're getting taxed twice. Okay,
and that's what Maura Healey is doing. So I mean,
but her so you're always getting. So it's hard to get ahead when you've got these high taxes. Period. Yeah. Period. Okay, and I mean, the government is not the answer. affordable housing is not the answer. These people think, like Chip and CJ, that they're not going to have, they can have affordable housing in Somerset, but they can't have it in Fall River. You don't want affordable housing. It's not affordable.
Yeah.
It's not affordable.
Deceptive terminology.
Yes, it's totally deceptive. And it's all government controlled as well. You don't have, I would be more for a private investor going in to say Fall River, not Gray Star, an individual, not a big company, just somebody who wants to invest, buy a 2 or 3 family and rent it out like that. You would have more competition with rents that way.
Well, we got a house for rent down over here, down in the corner over here, by the Aldrich School. The house is for sale.
It's for sale?
Yeah, it's for sale.
Free tenement.
I don't know. It's a tree tenement house. It's for sale right on the other side of us.
So
Right next
yes. So if you get somebody who's willing to invest in a 3-family in Fall River, you would probably get more competitive rates that way instead of these big corporations and these big developers that the government uses that collude to make the rents non-competitive.
Yep.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
It's like the Walmart. It's like the Walmart of apartment, honey. Because once you drive everybody else out, you got people trapped, and then you can raise the rents. They have nowhere to go.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is that when this happens, these people, these like Gray Star and the others in Swampscott, they don't care if they don't have people fill these units because they're going to make the money anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I agree.
Okay, so but if you have a private investor who's willing to put up money to invest in a 2 or 3 family, that's different. Now that's his money or her money, and they're going to want to have those units filled so that they can pay the mortgage. But these other people don't care.
Our landlady doesn't make money on unit that isn't occupied. This is private here.
This is a private unit right over here.
Right.
My landlord over here, she owns this.
And they're good people.
They're good people. They're Portuguese. And they keep their houses nice.
And that's how the neighborhoods used to be. Like even in Lynn, it was the same thing. You had the immigrants that came over. They had their own grocery stores, convenience stores, or whatever. They all helped each other out. If somebody couldn't do something, they helped out, blah, 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 blah. It was fine. They owned 2, 3 family homes. People rented it. They were helping each other out. Lynn was doing just fine until the government stepped in.
Until the government stuck their nose into
ruined it. They ruined those neighborhoods. They ruined them. The grocery stores were gone. The 2 or 3 families they took over. They took over by eminent domain. They knocked them down to put in roads or whatever they deemed was necessary. They ruined it. Everybody left. Everybody moved out of Lynn.
Yeah.
And you've got these apartment unit buildings now all over Lynn. That's what they got now. It's the same. It's just the same old story. And it's never been the same. It's never been the same. Lynn used to be safe. Lynn used to be a nice city to go to. I told you, my mother, when we were young, we would take the bus to go to Lynn, and it was fine. It was safe. We were young. My mother was by herself. I mean, we didn't have to worry about crime like you do now.
Oh my God! The crime is on. The crime. You know something? Like, the crime is horrendous here,
I
but
got a nervous husband here.
the crime is horrendous here. Let me tell you, but I can't afford to move anywhere. Okay, I can't afford to move anywhere. I live in a secure, apartment where the doors are locked, and and that's it. And people live next door because if they hear anything, boom, the cops will be here and within 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I can't afford to move anywhere. So now I'm stuck here. Okay. And plus Linda won't be able to move anywhere either because she has, I won't say on this live. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about that separately.
Well,
But
you know what is going to happen, I think, for people that say that they don't have a choice but to stay there? Let me tell you, when push comes to shove, you might just have to think of something and figure it out.
But we're hoping, praying that things get,
I'm not from the state, Annalisa. I'm from a small community in Hooper County, New York, originally.
In New York?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if that's any better.
let's
Maybe it's better than Massachusetts.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit.
I want Annalisa to clarify a statement before we go on.
So let's talk about Herkimer, New York. Okay, I took a trip with Linda up in Herkimer, New York. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that community is a small community. Okay, and you can actually leave your doors open over there.
Nobody will bother you.
And nobody would bother you. The streets are clean over there. People can go into.
Is that upper state New York? Is that upper state New York?
Take a look at this. That's what we're busy back in 2017, 18 or so.
Is that upper state New York?
That is central New York, Herkimer County. Look how bloody clean that is.
Is that in the upper part of New York?
Central area.
It's in the middle.
80 miles west of the capital.
And I'll tell you, Annalisa, the streams over there are beautiful. They're clean. Not one piece of paper on the ground over there. Not one. I was amazed. I walk into if you go down a little bit further, where the library is, I mean,
the churches. Oh my gosh.
The churches, not 1 ounce of piece of paper on the ground. Not one. I couldn't even find one. And that's how clean it is over there.
Well, I think this is my opinion. The Democrats have ruined Massachusetts, period. They've just ruined the state. I really think that the liberals and the radicals that are in the government right now are ruining and have ruined the state. Maura Healey is going from bad to worse.
Yes,
The mass GOP does nothing. Even in the small towns like Swampscott, it's almost the same thing. You've got people that are running it that don't care what the constituents say. It doesn't matter. They just do whatever they want. Total tyranny. That is what's going on.
And the tyranny.
and the taxes and everything else that's unaffordable, like Fall River, like everywhere else in Massachusetts. That's why people are leaving the state, because other states are not like Massachusetts.
Nope.
They're not.
Look at the shooting. Look at the shooting that happened down on Orange Street here in Fall River.
We come to find out, the victim of the shooting was actually arrested himself for violating a protective order and having possession of a controlled substance.
Yeah, it's getting worse. It's
it's out of control.
Massachusetts is out of control, and Mayor Paul Coogan, the state delegation, State Representative Cal Fiola. How many times I messaged her, emailed her,
right?
And she's only got back to me on one thing. It was about the bus terminal, about the youth. That was about it. She didn't get back to me on anything else, believe it or not.
Well, you know,
Okay.
speaking of
The
the Boston,
audit,
Right.
she did not get
oh,
back
they're
to me.
not going to talk about that. I know.
Well, you know, we're
She's gonna
going to
put
have
a foot
to.
in her mouth. You know why? Because she doesn't want the audit. The Democrats don't want the audit. So she's going to stick with them. And she voted for the budget. So you're going to have no relief for another year of this. So, and I'm not even too sure about the two Republican governors that are running, if they're going to even change anything. So
Oh,
Brian Shortsleeve sounds a little bit better, but I don't know. Coming from the Baker administration, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Mary
What's
Pereira, what's that? Mary Pereira?
Maria Pereira
Maria
Linder.
Pereira.
What is that? Linder.
I don't know her.
So
Oh.
when you have, and the other problem I think too is that when you have people that are dependent or think that government is the answer, you're going to have a showdown. You're going to have angry people saying that we don't want a free market. We want rent control, thinking that rent control is going to control the landlords from not spiking up the rents.
All it's going to do, Lisa, is they're going to have a tighter budget to work with. Not going to get incentive to fix the property up. Then they're selling. Guess what? Price increase then.
Yeah.
Because rent control is what the property sold.
So, you have rent control and they can't, because of the prices, they can't bring the rents up. The building deteriorates and then it becomes dangerous. And they're going to have to confiscate it and they're going to have to leave and find someplace else to live. It's not a win-win situation. Okay.
It's clearly not a win-win situation.
So, and then you have to have the job issue as well. So if there are no jobs, you're going to have a problem. And that's what Massachusetts has. There's no job growth.
No job growth whatsoever.
So, I mean, I don't understand, like, how are people
going Baker is a faker.
Yeah, Baker is a faker. Republican name only.
Rhino. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a rhino. Yeah, he is. He's a
Did you know that Brian Shortsleeve, the one who supports President Trump and the one who said he voted for President Trump, do you know that he raised $135,000 when he announced that he was running within the first 24 hours?
Really? Ooh.
How did they pull that off?
How are they pulling that off?
I'm curious.
Curious about
So
that.
He's probably has a, when you run, you have to set up your finances with a committee in the state. Once that happens, then the donations, so the donations can start coming in. So apparently he has one, I guess, and he already raised $135,000. But you know what Mike Keneally's camp is saying, the one that doesn't like President Trump, that they don't believe it. They're going to wait for the official record to come out in a couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah. To see if that's.
And I also heard CJ. Who was it? Was it CJ or was it Chip? They said something about the Palestinians. They said something about the
Palestinians?
Yeah, they said something about them.
You mean where? In this country or?
Yeah,
where?
well, no, but
I think about, I don't know.
Other countries, something,
Oh, you mean the Columbia University?
Columbia University. Yeah, the Columbia University. I mean,
I think they arrested the students. I think they're looking at their visas and stuff like that. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, they're starting to cool down now, Columbia University, because President Trump is not giving them money either. So they're starting to change their tune as well with that.
So they change it. So Columbia University is changing their tune too, as well.
Harvard. I don't know about Harvard, but Harvard is not going to get money either.
If Harvard University don't change their tune too, they're not going to get any federal funding either.
They should be getting it anyway. None of those people should be. None of those schools should be, because they've got the money. They don't need taxpayer money, period. They just don't. They should be paying taxes. That's what they should be doing. So
that is true.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on in Massachusetts, and I don't know. I just don't. They should serve those anti-resident friendlies on a Sesame Street.
Sesame bun. She's character.
Tell them to go to work at Friendlies and see what happens with those people. They're such big shots. Those people are like, they're the cream of the crop, the elite, students. Can you imagine telling them to go work at Friendlies? My God.
Yep. Yeah, try to go work at Friendlies.
They would take
cue the meltdown.
The meltdown. Go work at Friendlies. I mean, wow. I remember that I wanted to go work at Friendlies one time.
We had a friend, Swampscott had a Friendlies, and it closed down.
Yeah.
And I remember going there a lot to get their Reese's Pieces peanut butter sundae.
Oh man, so good.
Oh,
they had it down over here on President Avenue.
Loved it. Oh my God, I couldn't get enough. So I used to get it all the time. And I didn't really eat that. I didn't really eat there, but I did like that dessert. And then there was another restaurant that was on the Swampscott Salem line. What was that called? Was it IHOP? And they had for dessert peanut butter pie. I used to get that all the time. I loved it. I was like, and that closed down.
Make me hungry.
That closed down, and my niece and I would go there just for the peanut butter pie. We would eat, but then we just couldn't wait for the peanut butter pie. And then they closed, and we're like, oh no more peanut butter pie.
Yeah. Well, we got several We got Walgreens closed. We got a bunch of Walgreens closing too here in Massachusetts. One up on the South Main Street is closing.
Walgreens is closing, yes.
And we got quite a few.
And the Dollar Tree too.
Yeah.
Oh, they go downhill.
Yeah, the Dollar Tree is closing as well. There are a lot of businesses that are closing. I don't know why. I think that's really odd. So, and that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
No, that ain't.
No, it's not.
I
don't know. I don't even know. Like, the mayoral race is coming in November with Boston. I pray that Michelle Wu does not get back in.
I pray that she doesn't get back in either, because she
can't get back in.
No, communist China, that one.
The people need to go vote. They have to get out and vote to get rid of these radicals. If they don't come out and vote, they're going to get back in. They're going to get back in if they don't vote. If people don't go and vote. So.
People got to go out there and vote, man. Get out there and vote. Let's vote these people out, okay? Same thing with the city election, okay? Let's start with the city election. We need to get Mayor Paul Coogan out of there, okay?
Right.
We need to get some of the city councilors out of there, okay? Like Paul Hart, Brad Kilby, Joe Camara, okay? Let's say Linda Pereira too. I don't care, okay? We need to get these people out of there, because these people been in there for so long, okay? And they keep on electing these people all the time, okay? And this is why we have problems, okay? Because the same people keep getting elected, okay, and back in office, and they think, are we going to have a different outcome? No, you're not going to have a different outcome. It's going to be the same outcome. So we have to get out there and vote. Okay, get out there and vote. Let's vote these people out. Let's vote the mayor out. Let's vote Brad Kilby out. Let's vote Joe Camaro out. Let's vote Paul Hart out. Let's get some of these city council, new city council in there, so that way we can have a different outcome. You know what I'm saying? Because if we keep voting these people back in, we're going to have the same problems over and over and over again. Then we're going to have to go through the whole process again. And I don't feel like going through the bloody process anymore.
I know, right?
And keep talking about the same old thing. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about new process.
Right. Well, I mean, you've got a high crime rate in Fall River. I mean, why are they voting in?
The man who just had the sand and pretends it doesn't exist.
Why are they voting in these same people when you've got these issues? Why are these people getting voted back in? Even your representative,
these
Carol
people
Viola, same thing. Like,
these people that Carol Viola, Alan Sylvia, Michael Rodrigues, these people are unopposed. Nobody wants to run against them. You people got to get out there and get nomination papers. Start running against these people, state reps, senates. Get out there and run against these people. So that way,
all of them. Unfortunately, the Mass GOP does nothing to help. They should be getting out there looking for the Republican candidates. That's what they should be doing, and they should be supporting them, but they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
So they're helping the Democrats get back in all over again. This is corruption. This is just total corruption. This is what it has to be. That's what's going on here. They're getting money from somewhere, somehow. And that's why they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, because they are making money and they're using the taxpayer money to make money. While people are struggling, they're stealing taxpayer money. They're taking
while we're over here dealing with crime and shootings and stabbings and no road. Our infrastructure over here is horrible.
And CJ and Chip said it. These people are out of touch because they live in better neighborhoods. They have nicer homes. They live in a safer community. They don't know and understand what the others are going through because they're not going through it.
No, they're not. And
the Democrats are out of touch.
The Republican committee do not fall asleep.
The Democrats are out of touch with the working class, period.
Yeah.
They're out of touch. I mean,
the Democrats are out of touch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're out of touch. And their approval rating is now the lowest it has ever been, 25%. That is really low.
That is low.
Very low. Okay. The Democrat approval rating is at 25%. And I think more and more people, if they keep this up, if the Democrats keep doing the same thing, and then you've got the rhinos in Massachusetts that are helping them out,
God.
They're going to go down as well. The Mass GOP and the strategy that they have right now, which is helping the Democrats, they're going to go down as well. The rhinos are going to go down as well. And you're only going to have a handful of people like the 6 that voted against the budget that do want to do something for the constituents in that state, that want to lower the taxes, that want to bring the jobs back, that want to make. That's right. And the Republican committee does have a good opportunity right now, but they're not using it. They're not using it.
Well, I'm using it right now. So, I mean, I'm using it right now as we speak, when we talk about issues, when we talk about these things. So I'm using
I
it
know,
right.
but I'm talking about the heads of the Republican committee.
Oh, the heads of the Republican committee.
The heads, like Amy Carnevale, who is the chairperson for the Mass GOP, the national Republican spokesperson for the Republican Party for Massachusetts. What are they doing? They're not doing anything.
People out there? Are they telling people to get out there and run for public office? I mean, we don't know.
You can tell anybody anything. The thing is, their job is to support the candidates that are running against the Democrats, but they're not doing that. They are going with the Democrats, and that is a losing strategy.
Turkeys vote. It's not like turkeys vote in favor of Thanksgiving.
The rhinos in Massachusetts, their strategy is they are going to be with the Democrats, and it's a losing strategy. So the rhinos are going to lose, and the Democrats are going to lose. They're going to lose everything eventually because the state is just not doing well under their leadership. It's not working. It's not working. Okay, it isn't. And like I said, there were only 6 Republicans on Beacon Hill that voted against the budget. 6 out of 30.
6 out of 30. Wow.
There are 30 Republicans on Beacon Hill. 6 voted no on the budget. 6 of them, a handful of them. That's it. So the other 24 voted with the Democrats. Every single Democrat voted for the budget. Every single one of them voted. All the representatives of Fall River, all of them voted for the budget.
Cal Fiola, Alan Sylvia.
Yep, they all voted for it. So did, and Swampscott too, the representatives there, they all voted for this budget to go through another year of giving billions. They're going to end up giving billions of dollars to the illegals. You're going to have still high energy costs. Now you've got the warm weather coming up, and now you've got air conditioning, right? That's probably going to get high too, as well. It's going to go higher.
Well, I got the what do you call it there? We have the what is it? The efficient.
No. We have a 3-bedroom. We only run 2 ACs in this house.
We only run 2 ACs.
Well, what I mean is that the prices are not going to change because of the budget that was passed. Nothing's going to change. Taxes are staying the same or going up. So nothing for the next year for the budget has changed in Massachusetts because all of the representatives voted for it except for the 6 Republicans that did not vote for it. So
and the budget still passed.
It passed
by majority vote.
Overwhelmingly. No problem.
I ain't got no hair on my head.
No problem. Whatever Maura Healey wants, the Democrats are going to give it to him, and the rhinos are going to do the same thing. So
we got rhinos in the Republican, and we also got rhinos in the Democrats too, right? So you've got
Democrats, you've got the Democrats, and you've got the Republican rhinos that are working with the Democrats.
Rhinos to the left of me, social to the right of me.
Right. So you've got a uni party. That's what they call a uni party. You've got a uni party going on in Massachusetts. You've got tyranny. That's what's happening.
We do have tyranny over here. So
we do because most of the representatives on Beacon Hill are working overwhelmingly together to ruin the state. That's what they're doing.
Well, it looks like
they're not working for the constituents; they're working for themselves. That's what they're doing.
Well, now that we got the train, so now we can go up there and protest up there.
Do you know when speaking of which, you just reminded me, the mayor of Taunton has I believe she has some kind of control over the buses and the trains in that area down there, and Fall River is included in that. Yes. Yeah.
So now, yeah, I was just thinking of that too. I'm like, wow, now we got the train.
I remember you were complaining about the buses being late and all that. Well, the mayor of Taunton is responsible for those.
For all the buses being late.
Yeah, for all that.
Even my region.
No, Gatra and Soda are two different transportation agencies. They don't cross.
She's in charge of the MBTA down there in the South Shore, and Fall River is included, and all those other places, Dighton.
That's just the train. That doesn't include our buses. Our buses.
Well, I don't know. I read that it was the buses as well.
Gatra is Greater Algonquin Taunton Regional Authority. CERTA covers New Bedford, Fairhaven, Westport, Dartmouth, Florida, Somerset, Swansea.
Yeah, but the mayor has something to do with it. The Taunton mayor has something to do with it.
How has she got something to do with it?
She runs that transportation. She runs that.
MBTA, I can understand that.
In that area, which includes Fall River.
Yeah, we have MBTA service here.
So we do have MBTA service here.
But the bus is a whole other story.
But the buses, they're a whole nother story.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, you said that there was a problem with that. Well, she's involved with that as well.
Yeah, there is a problem with that. We're having a hard time getting, people to,
It wasn't supposed to be all to the end of May, but it's pushed through 2 months early.
Yeah, they pushed that thing 2 months early, yeah.
So, that
MBTA train wasn't supposed to be running until at the end of May.
Oh, free fares all the way through the end of April if you ride Saturday, Sunday. But there's such a shortage of staff that we'd be waiting for hours. Have to spend like over $100 get a lift or Uber home.
I was supposed to go to Boston.
So much for low cost, right?
Yeah, I was actually supposed to go to Boston. Me and Linda, and we looked on Facebook. We're like, wow, the train several hours delayed.
No, that was even before that. I had a bad feeling. I should not go.
Nothing is free. Okay. Nothing. This is, again, to me, this is all government intervention. And this is all to make everybody go, oh, thank God they're doing something for us. They're giving us something for free. This is just a ploy to make everybody shut up and to be happy.
I'd rather go during the week when there's more things to do right. I'd rather pay the ticket, go on a weekday when there's better scheduling, there's more things to do.
Right.
Weekend.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, but people think that because they're not getting it for free. Okay, somebody's paying for it. The taxpayer is paying for it. You're not getting it for nothing. There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
Nope.
And Massachusetts is not doing well financially, so I don't even know how they can do anything for free. So I don't understand. I can understand if they had money and there were jobs and people are doing okay, and that the taxpayer and they've got money in the fund and they can, do things for free once in a while. Okay, but the way it is right now, I just don't understand how they can do any of that. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. No, I don't. It doesn't make sense. So,
my son had a couple of rides on the MBTA train. He said, "Mom, there's barely anybody on board."
Yeah, there was nobody.
Wow.
From the front to the back, there was.
Go ahead. Ask Jake. He'll tell you.
Yeah, there was nobody on the train whatsoever. He told us.
There's barely anybody on board at all.
He just said that maybe he saw maybe one or two or three. That's about it.
And he went on a Monday.
If you go, I believe that it's busy in the morning when people have to go to work, like in Swampscott, they take the train to go into Boston. So in the morning, it's busy, and then it slows down after that. And then it gets busy again at like 5, 6, 7 when they're coming home from work.
After work rush.
That's the work rush.
Right.
After work rush.
So that's when the trains are busy. But otherwise, there aren't really a lot of people using it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, at some point, I'm going to utilize the train at some point. You know what I'm saying? Because.
But I wouldn't go up to Boston unless I was assured I would have an alternate way to get home.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
I'm not a risk taker.
Yeah, so
not by any means.
So we are gonna go up there at some point. But now that we got the train, in Fall River, now maybe we can just go up there and protest up at the State House.
Well, I mean, there should be, I think, more protests being done because there's nothing is being said by anybody in Massachusetts right now. But you do hear about President Trump. They do have protests for that.
Oh yeah, they have protesters in New York about President Trump. They have protesters in Chicago about President Trump.
Yeah,
they have protesters down in Michigan about President Trump. They have protesters about
the ice. But nobody they're out there. But the ones that disagree would say the illegals being sheltered, or the high taxes, or the high cost of energy prices and all that, and jobs or whatever. Nobody's protesting. Like nobody is saying anything.
Protesting on that though.
Nobody's saying anything about that. Nobody's saying a word about it, actually. And the representatives are used to that. The representatives are used to it. Like you sent emails to her and she only responded one time.
Yeah, she responded one time. She didn't respond to the rest of them that I sent her.
They're not used to that. They're not used to people like going to their office in multiple occasions, not just one time out of the year, but often enough that will make them think that these people are not going to leave me alone. They're not used to that. They're not. So they do whatever they want because nobody says anything. Nobody says anything.
Well, yeah, I remember one time, me and Linda, we used to go to State Representative Paul Schmidt's office all the time and sit and talk to him about issues and stuff, because he liked that. Well, I remember that, and because he always used to tell us when he was a state representative.
Yeah, when was that? When was that?
Geez, when was that? Some years ago.
Really few.
Yeah. They used to be the representatives way back when were much better than they are now. Now it's a whole different ballgame. It's not the same thing. No. It's not the same thing. It's changed. And when we had representatives that cared about what the constituents wanted, it was fine living in Massachusetts. It really wasn't an issue. Now it's a different story. It's not the same thing. And they have been, again, a uni party. There's corruption. There's too many things going on where the resident are being put behind the back burner. That period. That's it. They don't care what you've got to say anymore. It's the same thing in Swampscott. They don't care what you say. They do whatever they want. They don't care. That's why you've got 75 to 80% of the people that don't vote. Because it doesn't matter. To them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do whatever they want anyway.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, I think the Democrats have a big problem on their hands. I really do. I think the Democrats are in big trouble. They're in big trouble. And Massachusetts is starting, to say things to. So I think they're going to have a problem. I really do think that the Democrats are going to have a problem.
Yes, they are. The Democrats, they're in a lot of trouble. Okay, and
They are, and by
in a lot of trouble. Let's put it that way.
And next year, okay, when the governor's race is happening, and you're going to have the same old budget, it's going to get worse for the Democrats. It's going to get worse,
of course,
because nothing's changed. Nothing has changed, and their representatives aren't doing anything about it. So I think, I think that they're going to have a problem next year. They don't think so. Mike Keneally, the one that doesn't like President Trump, the Democrats and the rhinos in Massachusetts are betting on a campaign where they're going to say, we don't like President Trump, because they think most people in Massachusetts don't like President Trump. So they think they're going to have an easy time getting in. But now you've got Brian Shortsleeve, who does like President Trump and who, raised a lot of money within 24 hours. So they're probably starting to think, like, what is going on here? This guy is a Trump supporter, and now he's got all this money as well. They don't believe it. The Keneally's camp doesn't believe it.
No, Democrats are losing their touch. So I wish they'd go away.
This is going to be interesting to see how this.
It's going to be an interesting race in 2026, guaranteed. Watch.
Yeah, this is going to be. It is going to be interesting, I think, and I'm dying to see what the Mass GOP is going to do too. So far there's crickets, nothing, absolutely nothing. Not even for Keneally and Shortsleeve, the two Republicans, the two front runners right now. They're not even saying anything about them. It's crazy.
I think Maura Healey's going to lose this time. I think she is. She's going to lose this time. Because there's.
Well, if you've got the voters that are going to come out and vote, she probably will lose.
We have to get these voters out there, and these voters got to get out there, because this is ridiculous. This is the same old stuff all the time. We keep talking about it. It's even burning the rest of the hair off my head every time I talk about it. Same thing with Paul Coogan. Same thing with city councils.
Right.
All the time, these issues, the same issues come up. Is because they vote the same people back in all the time.
Right.
And when you vote the same people back in all the time, please do not expect to get a different result.
Anything different.
You're not.
You're not.
If you vote somebody different in, then you're going to get a different result. We don't want
You hope. It depends on the candidate. So, but what's going on right now is not working in Massachusetts.
It's not. There's not.
It's not
Massachusetts is a shithole. It's not.
Yeah, there needs to be change for sure there. And short of causing a revolution, because I don't even know what you can do anymore other than voting these people out. I think the frustration level is like up here. People have had it. And
we all had it with it.
And they're lucky. I think the Democrats and the rhinos so far in Massachusetts are lucky that people haven't turned on them, meaning that they haven't raided the council, like the city, the meetings or anything, and tell them to get out, because they can do that if they want. That hasn't happened. And they're lucky that hasn't happened.
They're very lucky that didn't happen.
So far,
sometimes the people, when we're up to here like this, we just go in there and say, hey, look, you and you and you and you guys get the hell out. If you don't want to do the job, get out.
Right. That's right.
Because what they do is, every single time, there's not one good representation.
Right.
We have one city council in there. The new city council, Ricky Tiff, right?
Mhm.
He talks. Me and him, we have conversations back and forth all the time. Okay, when it came on to the police chief, okay. Well, at first he voted no. At first he voted yes on the police chief. Then he later on,
I think the question was clarified.
but the question wasn't qualified. You know what I'm saying? Because of Councilor Cliff Ponte and Sean Kadeem maybe influenced him. You know what I'm saying?
That's alleged.
That happens all the time.
Alleged, not proven.
Alleged, but not proven.
He originally said that he favored a process for choosing the police, and not just doing the one into a candidate, a process looking for people who qualify for the job.
In other words, he wanted to bring in the
other possible candidates.
Other possible candidates like the merit stuff and the civil service. You know what I'm saying? For other possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's what he originally wanted.
Of course they shut that down. They shut that down, of course.
So they did shut that down. So now
3 times, multiple times the mayor put up the city council to approve the interim chief for a permanent position. They did give the original resolution. No, was no. The council would know. It's like the mayor kept shoving it down their throats.
They did that in Swampscott. Sean Fitzgerald did that in Swampscott.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he did. He turned Swampscott upside down. Upside down. It is not the same town I grew up in. It is totally different. I don't like it anymore. I don't even like the state. You can't go anywhere in the state and get something decent. They're all the same. All these communities are basically the same.
Well, the police chief, I don't mind having her because she said she'll let ICE in here and let ICE do their thing in here. So
and again, you can't pick somebody based on only one credential either.
Yeah, she said that she'll
let
ICE
I'm talking about the what's that called? That civil
service.
Civil service that Sean Fitzgerald changed in Swampscott. And it changed they changed the police department. It did all these things. And I like I said, he's done, when Sean Fitzgerald came into the picture, the Swampscott has never been, it's just not the same anymore. It's just a totally different.
I haven't been up there, so it's one day I like to.
It's nice to visit, but if you're going to live there, the property taxes are high, the homes are high. The average is $800,000 to buy a home in Swampscott.
Wow! Woo.
And the property taxes can range from 10 to 20 and maybe even more $1,000 a year. So it is not a cheap place to live.
It's a rich place, which is called.
And you're not getting the services that you once got in Swampscott with that tax money, which was lower than it is now. You're not getting it anymore. It's all different now. The businesses are practically all gone. Art center is gone. More so-called affordable housing is going up, and nobody knows for who. Like, why do we have to have all these units in a little town like Swampscott? Like, nobody can give us the answer.
Because they know the answer, and they don't want to. They don't want to give it to us.
Right.
So they know the answer, but they're not going to give it to you.
And unfortunately, when I was against what they were doing a few years ago with the whole thing that was going on in Swampscott, everybody was on my back in Swampscott.
Oh, geez.
Everybody was on my back. Okay. They all they thought that they were doing this great thing in Swampscott. And that, I didn't like it. I didn't like what was going on because I was at the standouts and I saw what was happening. And I'm like, I don't like this. But everybody else thought it was wonderful.
I didn't think it was wonderful when I was watching
No.
those live videos go on.
Yeah, so, but they did. The people in Swampscott that were watching thought that we were crazy and we shouldn't be protesting and we shouldn't be doing any of these things. We should go along with what these people, the board, wants. And we're like, no, I don't want it. I don't want what they want. I don't like what's going on right now. But you know what?
I mean, you know, I don't know so much about Swampscott. I mean, for what you're telling me, but you know, it
Now,
what
now
I
that-
saw.
Now
What
that
I
everything,
saw up there with for what I saw and what Governor
Yeah.
Baker did,
yeah,
it made me believe that, you know, Governor Baker was a rhino Republican, a fake Republican, but more on the Democrat side.
right.
For what I
Well,
saw.
now that what I was protesting is now coming into fruition in Swampscott with all these units that are being built and everything is changing. Now they're on my side. Now they agree with me. And it's like,
Why
well,
didn't they
you know
agree
what?
with you before?
Right. Well,
So-
now you know what? It's too late because now you're going to have more units and they don't like it. They don't like it. And it's like, well, I tried to tell you, but you don't want to listen. So you were like making fun of me. I shouldn't have been doing that. And you had the town, like Sean Fitzgerald and the police against the people and the standouts there that did not agree with BLM and all that crap and the LGBTQ. Man, they were coming after us like no tomorrow. They were nuts. Wow. They were nuts. I mean, it's like you committed murder. It's like they're murdering somebody. Like,
yeah, they were like the jury of six.
Yeah, you know, it's just like we had to do whatever they told us to do. That's what Sean Fitzgerald was trying to do. Shut everybody up.
Yeah.
He did not want those standouts there, but you know, he did want the BLMers there, but he didn't want the others there.
He didn't want the Trump flags out there. So
no, he didn't want any of the American flags, the Trump flags, the ones that made fun of Biden. Nobody wanted that. Yeah. But the BLM, Black Lives Matter, this LGBTQ, that was fine.
Yeah, to have them there.
That was okay. Yeah, that was okay.
Don't look at American flag. That's offensive.
Right. Exactly. So they were coming after us. John Fitzgerald and the police department in Swampscott were going after everybody on the other side, but not BLM, but not them. Not them. And now that Swampscott, especially in one section, like I said before, they're seeing what is going on now. Now it's different. Now they're like all friends with me.
Oh yeah, okay, Annalisa, we apologize. We're sorry. We didn't see it before, but now we see it. But now it's too damn late.
But when I make a comment and I say this, they agree with me now. Before they were fighting me, making fun of me, and the comments that I was making. Now they agree with me, and it's like, I don't know what to say anymore. This is
because they knew you were right, but they couldn't figure it out at the time.
Well, you know, like I said,
to admit that you were right would be to admit that they've been deceived, and that was embarrassing. You have to confess that.
That's right.
That was embarrassing to confess that to you like that.
Yeah, they won't, which is I don't really care because. You know, like I said, I don't like what's happening in Swampscott. Like you don't like what's going on in Fall River.
I don't like what's going on in Fall River, and I don't like what my mayor's doing over here. I mean, I think he's, he's not doing a good job. Okay, he's not representing us right. You know what I'm saying he's not, and either some of them city councils are not representing us right either. We want good representation. Okay, good representation, good ideas. What you're going to do for the taxpayers of the city of Fall River? What are you going to do for us? We don't want to hear about your yada 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 yada, and this and that. Or you're fighting and arguing and accusing people for this, allegations on this. We want to know what you're going to do for the people of the city of Fall River. What are you going to do for us?
Which is, what are you going to do about the crime rate? What are you going to do about the taxes? What are you going to do about the jobs? What are you going to do about these things that people are having a hard time going from paycheck to paycheck, like that woman said? What are they going to do? And your representatives as well. Again, they voted for that budget, which means you guys are not going to get any relief.
We are struggling over here. So that's why we are asking, what are these people going to do for us? We don't care about your fighting, okay? You can fight all day long. We just want to know what you're going to do for us.
Yeah, that's all a distraction. That's political theater. And your representatives, the ones on Beacon Hill that are making the budget, has done absolutely nothing for Fall River or Swampscott or any of the towns and cities in Massachusetts. Nothing. Nothing has changed. Nope. Everybody is complaining about the energy prices, about the home, how expensive that is, the rent and taxes. I mean, everybody's complaining about it. Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, I watch these things. I watch these city councils. I watch the mayors on live, and all I hear, I never hear not one thing about the constituents of Massachusetts. Okay, not one thing about us. We have to. We have to listen to the taxpayers. We have to listen to the taxpayers, but we don't hear that. We don't hear it at all. All we hear is it's about me. It's about Mayor Paul Coogan. It's about it's about the city councilors. But we don't hear what we're gonna do for the taxpayers now, and how we're gonna give good representation for how good the representations are. Our streets are our infrastructure is a mess. Okay.
Well, when you go to these councils or you're listening to the council meetings or whatever,
I don't go there.
So are there questions?
I have my choice of words what I'm going to say to them.
Well, do you ask questions like, what are you going to do about the high crime rate? What are you going to do about the rents that are high? What are you going to do about the jobs? Like, are you specific when you ask these questions to them? Do people ask these questions? Do people say
they do ask the questions?
Do they say, I'm living from paycheck to paycheck and I'm having a hard time here. Why don't you do something about the budget? Why did the representatives vote for this current budget where there's no relief in sight?
I've had a business owner. He owns a pizza shop down on North Main Street. His name is Jordan James Sylvia. He's very political active, but I don't know if he is now. But I'll tell you, when he goes to the city council, okay, he tells them off. He does, and I'll tell you one thing, he doesn't hold anything back. He's a homeowner. He's also a businessman. He owns a pizza shop on North Main Street. I haven't been down there. I don't know. I haven't been down there yet, but I heard that the pizza is really good down there, and and he's always been active, with politics.
I'm asking, do the people that follow these meetings, do they ask specific questions like, what are you going to do about the crime rate? It's so high.
They do. They do.
The city isn't safe.
They do all the time.
And what do they say?
But the city councils, the city councils, and some of the like Paul Hart, Brad.
He's part of the school committee,
and
that's different.
Well, Paul Hart's on the city council.
Are you sure?
Yes, he is. So Paul Hart is on the city council. He is.
Both.
No, he's on the city council. Paul Hart. He is. Paul, yes, he's on the city council, and with Brad Kilby, and with Brad Kilby and Ponte, Councilor Ponte, he is, and him, and they don't do anything. We ask the questions, but they don't do it. Okay, they don't listen to it.
They don't answer
the questions. They don't answer the questions when the questions are asked to them. They don't answer it. Okay, and
well, then you have to. Or you have to say, why don't you answer me? Do you have an answer? Do you have a plan? Is there some plan going on how to tackle this high crime rate that's going on here? Are the people persistent, or do you just let it go? When they don't answer, you let it go, and there's no follow-up. That's it. It's done. It's the end.
I mean, they sit there, when you ask them the questions, they sit there like a bunch of dummies, and that's like,
right, and they don't answer.
Okay,
and then what happens after
question. That? So, this is a hard question that the taxpayers are asking us. Should we answer it or should we not answer it? Okay.
Well, then you say, do you have an answer? I'd like to know.
So when I watch the city councils on there, and when the taxpayers go there for input time, and they ask the question. They sit there like a bunch of dummies. They don't. They're like mummies. So should I answer this question, or is it too hard for me to answer it? I'm telling you, they're like the city council.
But again, it's like, do you follow up and say, do you have an answer? Have you thought about it? I've asked this, 100 times, and I still don't have an answer. Has anybody come up with some kind of solution? Has anybody said
a plan for the city? We need a plan.
Right.
We need a plan. We need a plan. How are you going to tackle the crime rate that's happening here in the city of Fall River? Right. We got shootings. We got drive-by shootings. We got stabbings. Right. How are you going to? What is the plan to tackle it? We need a plan. If we don't have a plan, then we cannot tackle it. Okay, we cannot tackle the issue. We need a plan. Right. How is the plan? How are you gonna tackle it? We need a plan. Without a plan, you ain't gonna do nothing. Okay.
Well, if you go to, if anybody, not just you, not you personally, but anybody, when they go to these meetings and they ask these questions, like one woman, there was a video on one woman who said that the energy prices are out of control. And they need to, something needs to be done. And if you guys make them go up, shame on you. See, that to me, she did the right thing. However, what I think people need to do is say, we don't like that Fall River has a high crime rate. And we would like to know from the city council if they're going to do anything about it. We would like to know if there has been any discussion with this matter, because we don't feel safe and we feel nothing is being done about it. And that's what you're there to do. Does anybody have any plans for tackling this issue that is going on? Like, that's what you have to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can go in there and complain, but you also have to have and you got to say, we need answers. We want a solution. We want a plan. What are you going to do about it? We're concerned about this.
If you don't have a plan, please say so. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they don't.
That way we can, if they don't have a plan, we can help them make a plan. You know what I'm saying? To tackle these issues.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what needs to be communicated. And I don't think that's being communicated.
It's being communicated because a little bit by the taxpayers, by the citizens' input. It's a little bit, but it's not, it's
will,
not.
No, you have to be persistent. You can't just do it one time and let it go and expect them to take care of it. It's not going to happen. You have to keep.
Oh, you're right. It's not going to happen. They have to be consistent with it.
You have to be persistent. You have to bring it up like continuously, because they think like they just, for some reason, they just don't think this is a problem. And I don't know why. Because
let's bring it up one time. It's not a problem. Let's bring it up one time. Let's see what the city councils do. Okay. So
you also have to show the numbers. You have to bring statistics to them and say, these are the stats. Fall River has a high crime rate with this, and this. It's higher than the state and national average. What are you planning on doing to make the city safer? They're not going to know what to say. They're going to be dumbfounded because they're not used to people doing this to them.
So what's going to happen? Their brains is just going to shut right down and say, "Well,
yeah, because they're not used to their constituents or the people they're doing these kinds of things." So in other words, you have to be a little bit more active. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit more active, a little bit more specific to them on these type of issues.
Active and not just complain, because complaining isn't going to get you anywhere.
Of course not.
They're going to get offended when you complain. Okay, they are. They're going to get offended. They got big egos. They're going to feel like they have to defend themselves. So you have to come up and you have to stroke their ego and say things like, "Look, I'm concerned about this, this, and this. What are you going to do about it? I'm turning to you because you represent us."
You said my elderly mother doesn't feel safe.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like these things, they have to know, specifically what the issues are that is concerning people.
Well, we tell them. We tell them because they even tell us all the time. Come down to the city council, tell us what's going on so that way we can fix this. But when we go down there and tell them what's going on, they're like, they don't even know what to do.
Well, then you have, and I say it again, you have to come back. Anybody has to come back and say, do you have an answer? Did you think about it? We're waiting for a solution. You can't just present something.
We've been waiting for a solution. Every time we go down there and tell them, we're like, do you have a solution? Do you have an answer? We need an answer because Fall River is Fall River with there's a public safety issue here, and we need the answer.
And you have to say also, I've been here 3, 4, 5 times asking you the same question, and you still don't have a plan.
Should I go there with bullhorn with my bullhorn and then?
What is going on here? How come? Like, what is? Yeah, that's what they're supposed to be doing. That's what they're supposed
to be representing us. Okay.
Okay, they're supposed to keep the community safe. They're supposed to make life like bearable where you live, have jobs, people have homes, and they can feed themselves and their family. This is what they are supposed to do. But if they're not doing that,
they're not listening to us. Of course not.
And the representatives are just as bad on Beacon Hill.
I emailed Cal Fiola on this situation. And she hasn't even got back to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I fought her email on every single issue that I could ever think of.
And then you can
going on here in District 6. And
then you can write.
She hasn't even got back to me. Get back to my chief of staff.
And you can write back and say, I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you, and I'm not going to vote for you next time. I'm going to tell people that you're not doing a good job.
I'm
of representing.
So I can't vote for her. Anyways,
No, nobody should be voting for her. Nobody should be.
Unopposed. Nobody wants to run against her. Nobody wants to run against Michael Rogers either. I did, and I didn't win, but I did.
Yeah, there's a problem with Massachusetts and always voting in the Democrats and the rhinos. But like I said, I think it's changing now a little bit because the cost of living has gotten out of control. People cannot afford to live in Massachusetts any longer. It's out of control. So now you're having the people speak up. But I just think that it's too bad that it's gotten to this point, because people should have been saying things a long time ago. And now it's gotten to the tipping point where now they're desperate for change. Now they're desperate. They're looking for Republican candidates like Brian Shortsleeve. Okay. They don't even care if he's a Trump supporter. It doesn't even matter to them at this point. So, and that's not a good position to be in either. Okay. When you're like in a desperate situation and you don't care who is running, that's not good either. Okay. So, I mean, I just think people are a little too passive or apathetic when it comes to politics. I just don't think I don't think they're involved enough to care about an outcome. You know, like you don't have to run or anything like that, but just keep up with the issues. Like just keeping up with the issues and what's going on in your community and everything else. There's a lot of people that don't care.
All the time. I say I even have to,
and then
I even have to, Lisa. I even have to, Annalisa. I even have to shut off my. I even have to shut off my my scanner because I get so overwhelmed with it. Okay,
right.
Linda says you need to shut up the the scanner because you get overwhelmed with it, and a lot of times I don't even get any sleep. You know what I'm saying?
You're not sleeping.
I'm not sleeping because I'm worried about my family. Okay, I'm worried about my family. And how I can keep my family safe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sure. So now the scanner stays off. Okay. Now the scanner stays off because now I can get sleep now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's affecting your sleep, that's not good. You shouldn't be listening to it all the time because it does affect your brain.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get overwhelmed.
It will get you scared.
Issues now,
Yeah, you're gonna get paranoid. You're gonna be scared all the time, and you don't want to live like that either.
I don't want to live like that, man. No, of course not. I mean, this is why we're always after. This is why we're always after the the city councils, the mayor, the state representatives. The governor, that's why we're always after these people, so that way we can get good representation off of them.
Well, I think that if they're not going to do their jobs,
they can get the hell out if they're not going to do their job.
Well, not only do they need to get the hell out, but what I think might happen is that the people in the neighborhoods are going to get together. Okay.
Of course they are. Right over here,
and if these people, the representatives, are not listening to them and they're frustrated and they don't like what's happening, they're going to take matters into their own hands. And I think,
and if our neighbors take matters into their own hands, and I'm going to say we ain't got enough cops, okay, not enough police officers to stop a riot. Okay, we ain't got enough. They'll have to call in the state police. They'll have to call in the sheriff department. Not even that. They may have to get the National Guards out here to stop all these riots.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about
that. Because the politicians don't want to do their job. Okay, and all they want to do is, put money in their pocket. You know what I'm saying?
I'm listen, when all those whatever, I don't know how you call it. When all those options are gone and the National Guard doesn't show up, your state rep doesn't do anything, city council doesn't do anything.
The mayor doesn't do anything.
When your governor doesn't do anything, the mayor doesn't do anything. When all that comes together, and nobody's doing, the representatives are not doing what they should be doing, then you're going to have some people are going to get together and they're going to start doing their own thing. And that could mean being armed. Okay. That could mean that. Okay. Because if there's not enough police, and you don't trust, like I don't trust, like the Swampscott police.
I barely trust police officers. I do.
Right. Police so I don't think
not like they used to be back in the 60s.
They're not going to be there on time when something happens. You have to have some kind of self-defense for yourself if anything happens. So I think we talked about this before.
We did talk about this on my last live stream.
I think it's to me, this is my opinion because this is what I've been through. I think it's dangerous to rely on the police, the mayor, the representatives. People rely on them, these elected officials, to do their job, and they're not doing their job.
They're not.
And they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what ends up happening is that the person is going to take matters into their own hands. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And, when they do take matters in their own hands, and if they do take matters into their own hands, guess what's going to happen? Okay. Then, then the elected officials, the police department, they're not going to be able to handle it. They're not.
Well, you know what? That's too bad.
Because they
can't handle it now, David. They can't even handle it now.
And then we expect these politicians to do their job, okay, and represent us the right way, okay. But they don't. Right. There's no good representation. Either side, there's no good representation at all. We don't. Alan Sylvia, State Representative Cal Fiola, Michael Rodrigues. I'm telling you, people in Beacon Hill, there's no representation at all.
Well, this is what I'm telling you.
Governor Moore Healy, she's a total waste of time.
I'm telling you that people are not going to be turning to these representatives any longer because they don't do anything. So when that happens, when people get to a point where they say, it doesn't even matter what I say to Carol Fiola or Governor Healy or Mayor Coogan, and like even with the select board in Swampscott, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter what I say because they just do whatever they want. So what happens?
They do whatever they want anyways.
So what happens is people get frustrated because they can't turn to them because they just do whatever they want. Then they start turning to each other. Then they start turning to the community and the people in there, and they start talking and they try to figure things out. What are we going to do to stop this? What are we going to do? I mean, that's the only thing. I think that is the only thing that's going to change these representatives and do what they got to do. When the people come together, when you start, go ahead.
Because the community is the people that live in the community is going to turn to each other. Okay.
Right.
And we're going to start talking. And when we start talking, then, shit's going to happen.
That's right. And that's just like with the CJ and Chip. You start talking, you start getting people together. This podcast as well, the podcasts that I do and people that view them.
Stiletto too.
All these
Stiletto too. When she does the podcast, people start talking. People get together.
Yeah, you got this community now, right? That's talking about all these issues and all this frustration and all the things that are not happening in Massachusetts, and it's getting worse. So what's going to happen? You're going to start turning to your neighbor, and you're going to start talking to them. And you're going to start saying, you know, this, and then they're going to come back to you and say, yeah, me too, blah, 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 and on and on and on. And then
one neighbor, then it's going to get to the other neighbor, then the other neighbor on the street.
That's right. That's right. And then you're going to come. At one point, all these things that we're doing, the podcast that you're doing, the lives that I do, and all the other people.
And the lives that Stiletto D does
all these podcasts, all the YouTube, all of these at one point, especially in Massachusetts, they're going to get together. People are going to find them. They're going to find you, me, Chip, CJ, Stiletto, Mike Urban, Mark Lombard. They're going to start finding these people. And when they start building up and start seeing that, hey, look, we've got people that think the same way we do. What are we going to do now? You know what I mean? So now you've got a little bit of power, okay? You got some power now happening. And you're going to start finding a voice. You're going to start getting together. And you could start like a standout or a protest. You go to the city council meetings and you get all together, not one like that woman who was talking about the energy prices. Not just one woman. You've got to get a group of people all together. Go in all together and protest in front of the city council, because then they'll get the message. They will get the message. And if they don't, they're in trouble. They're in trouble because the people will just keep getting together and together. And you know what? Before anything can happen, you've got probably another revolution happening. I'm not even kidding.
That's the first thing we don't want is a revolution happening.
Well, yeah, right. We
don't want that to happen. We just want
people. Well, you know what? I think the people in Massachusetts have been patient, a little too patient.
We've been patient a little too much over here. You know what I'm saying? And
it's enough.
And now, and not having not having good representation. Hell no.
Yeah, and you've got your representatives, whether they're especially the Democrats and the rhinos that make up most of it, that take advantage of it because nobody says anything, and you have. And they have to see the opposition. They have to feel it. They have to see it. They have to feel the pressure. You got to get together and you have to come in unison in a group, not one person show up, but 10 people show up, 15 people show up, 20 people show up at a meeting, and you make noise.
We did the last time. We did the last time. We had about at least 100 people downtown when all these recalls started going on. We did.
Well, I'm talking. I mean, I'm not talking about just those things. I'm talking about in a pretty consistent manner to go with a group of people that are going to put pressure on.
We need these groups of people to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? And start making a little bit of noise because
and if you don't have the city council or town council like in Swampscott, if they're not going to listen to what you got to say, then you know what? They're going to take matters. People are going to take matters in their own hands. Period.
They're going to do the same thing here in Fall River. And I'm saying people walking down the street like they do. But I'm telling you,
you tried. You sent your emails out. I did my standouts. I've done.
I sent over 100. I sent over 100 emails out.
Right. You've done. 100. Yeah. You go to the city council meetings. You guys talk about it, and still nothing has changed.
Nope.
So the frustration level is going to build, and it's going to build, and it's going to build, and you're going to find another way to tackle these issues. It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
And you know what else is going to happen too? People are going to start policing their own neighborhoods.
That's right. Exactly.
People are going to start policing their own neighborhoods, their own streets, and they're going to take care of the crime. You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen? I see it all. I see it all building up. It's all going to happen.
That is the best thing that can happen. Is you have like a sign.
We're going to take care of our own neighborhoods. We're not going to need the police. We're going to take care of our own streets.
That's right. You got a sign on the pole there saying a neighborhood crime watch, so that if anybody decides to do anything stupid, you've got people that they know that they have people watching. Cameras are watching. People are watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have schools down that end. We have schools down this end over here. That needs to be monitored 24/7 down here. Okay. Because we have school kids, we have kids out there playing inside inside the schoolyard when the teachers are out there. You know what I'm saying? We can't have all this stuff keep happening. We cannot have these issues.
You have to like sign that says the 10 a.m. Strictly 10 p.m. strictly enforced, something that's going to deter these kids not staying out late at night.
We're gonna have to enforce. We're gonna have to.
You know what I mean?
This. So
because
the biggest into our own hands is enforcing. We have to enforce the law somehow. You know what I'm saying? To lower the crime rate that's happening here in Massachusetts.
Do you have does in your neighborhood are there people with security cameras?
Yeah, we have a few. We have a few. We have Mario's Bakery next door. We have cameras over there. We have cameras around. I'm talking about the residences, not the businesses. The residences. Do they have their own security cameras? Yeah,
like
they
on
do.
On a doorbell, how they have.
There is some.
That has to be like a sign. Has to maybe if the crime is bad, then you have to put up a sign in the neighborhood or in your home saying that it's being monitored. 24/7 security camera is on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can do that.
You can like things like that, so that they're aware that there is security cameras around, and they're most likely they're not going to do anything knowing that they're going to be recorded. Okay, right?
I carry a body cam on me, too as well. So I mean,
you can they even have it in the home, like in a sign in the window saying, there's a dog here, beware, be careful of the dog, security 24/7. They have all these signs now where people, if they're going to think of doing something, are going to think twice about it.
You're going to think twice about it. You're going to think about twice about committing a crime in my neighborhood, because
exactly.
You will get caught and you will be arrested and you will be prosecuted.
That's right, because you have proof. So you can bring the video to the police and say, here's the guy, here it is. And now will you go find them and arrest them, charge them and arrest them and sentence them and all that? Because remember Tesla, those cars, Elon Musk's car, they have cameras on those cars 24/7. So they knew who the people were that were keying and putting the Teslas on fire because the camera was on. They didn't know that.
Yeah.
The people that were committing the crime didn't know that they were being videotaped.
Yeah, there's cameras. We have cameras all over the place. If you have cameras there's cameras all over the cameras in the neighborhood. If you have
cameras all over the place, then your crime rate shouldn't be that high. Because
we have it here in the neighborhood over here.
Well,
but they still do it. You know what I'm saying? and a lot of times the police are being called all the time, but sometimes the police will just and flash a light. Okay, see ya. Cops don't really do
Well,
nothing.
I mean, you have to say, I've got tape. Maybe I have a tape. Will you look through it so you can find the perpetrator?
That is true. Yep.
If
We got
that's
kids
not
outside over here.
if that's not happening, then you're part of the problem too.
That is, well, yeah.
The community is part of the problem as well, because they're not being active, and they're putting
all the time.
They're putting the responsibility.
I'm active 24. I'm active all the time. I mean, look, I carry a body.
I'm talking about the community. I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about everybody.
Well, the community. Some of the communities where we have to be active because we have a school down here in this area. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be.
It doesn't matter whether you have a school. It doesn't matter whether you have a school or not. My point is that if there is a high crime rate and the city council and the police are not doing anything about it, then you're going to have to take matters into your own hands. You're going to have to take matters into your own hands.
I have to police my own street. You know what I'm saying? I have to police my own street.
Everybody does, not just you.
Everybody's going to start policing, start coming out, and let's walk the streets and stuff like that. Because
you have to make sure that the cameras are running. You have to make sure that it's being videotaped so that if something happens, the police can go look at it, or you've got it and you can get it to the police, or you can say to the police, I've got video footage. Why don't you take a look at it and see if you can
look at it and just stop assuming all these things.
Right. So
look at the camera.
So you know what? If still they don't do anything, then guess what? You are going to have to take matters into your own hand for sure.
Yeah. The police and this is what I don't get sometimes. Okay, this is what I don't get sometimes. Well, the police say, we arrest these criminals. Okay, but the courts seem to let them go all the time. Why are the courts letting them go? Why are they letting them go on their own personal recognizance? Why ain't the courts, holding them without
it depends.
bail?
David, it depends on the charge. It depends on the charge. Okay. Now, if they're lenient on everything, that's not good. Okay,
the courts are lenient on everything over here. Nobody's being held. Look at the police officer. When the police officer was caught, caught in a sting operation. He pleaded not guilty. But did they, because he's a police officer, then they didn't hold him without bail?
Yeah, but we don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that.
Yeah, he was released. He got released. He got released because he was a police officer.
But that doesn't mean that they're not going to.
Annalisa, that's why people don't trust police officers, because police officers commit crimes themselves.
Just because somebody gets released doesn't mean that they're not going to get charged. It does. That's not what it means. So they might have to find more evidence against them. There could be a case. I don't know. If he pled not guilty and they don't have a case, they have no choice but to let him go. They have no choice. Now, if they're doing it on purpose, they do it all the time. They do it all the time.
Because sometimes you have a Democratic judge. Okay, sometimes you'll have a Democratic judge. And when you have a Democratic judge is going to say, okay, I'm going to release you on personal recognizance. Here, a $5,000, $5,000 bail. But if we had a conservative judge, a conservative judge will not release you on bail. he will hold you until your trial starts.
If
He had a conservative judge,
if they have evidence,
Sorry.
if they have David, if they have evidence.
Well, they have evidence. The police officer had the evidence.
With no evidence. They can't hold somebody with no evidence. You can't do it.
If you got caught in a sting operation, they
I know, but
evidence.
let's not. I don't. You know what? Let's forget about the cop because they're going to get treated differently. Let's talk about the kids or the people that are committing these crimes in your city that makes you feel unsafe. The shootings, the stabbings,
it does.
the violence.
It makes everybody feel unsafe. Even the elderly people when they want to go to the store or the laundromat makes them feel unsafe.
That's what I'm talking about.
Viola on all these issues, and she hasn't even returned. She only returned once, but the important ones she hasn't even emailed me back and you know.
Well, you know what you need to do.
Take care of the situation.
You need to post that every day. And when you do these podcasts, you have to say these things on a consistent basis. Because
people when you come on.
Yeah, because people are going to forget. There's new listeners. There's going to be, you have to keep mentioning it that the representative in your district is doing nothing to help with the crime rate there.
District 6. District 6. This is what District 6.
Right. They're not, I complained, I sent her emails and she hasn't responded.
I even posted the email. I even posted all the emails and I sent you some with copies, right? Remember? Right. But I even post the ones that I sent her up on Facebook, and I want people to take a look at it that I posted. Okay, there is a problem here. There's a crime. There's issues. There's issues in crime over here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and you know what you know what you got to do too, Dave, is get the statistics out. Find the statistics that, like, when you look it up and do a research. And you show on your podcast, on a graph, or even on Facebook, posted on YouTube, posted on Instagram, posted everywhere, and show the statistics.
Oh, wait a second. Wait, hold on. I think I have one. Wait a second.
I mean, you should have them. I mean, I found them pretty quickly. So I forget the name of the website where I found that the crime rate is high in Fall River. What's it called?
I'm going to go on the police department website because they posted it. Oh, right here. I'm gonna send you that on your messenger. They posted it. Tell me if that's right.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the crime rate.
Well, I saw that one there. The domestic 217, fight 66, mental health 107.
Well, it's called Neighborhood Scout. That's where I got it. Yeah. So it says the violent crime rate is significantly higher.
Neighborhood Scout. Let me look that up. Let's see. Let me find that.
Okay, so the overall crime rate, this is AI, is lower than the national average, but the violent crime rate is significantly higher.
Yeah.
Property crime rate is low, but violent crime is high. This is 2017 though. I don't want 2020. I want.
I want 2025. I want 2025.
Well, no,
statistics.
2025 isn't done yet, so you can't have that. It's got to be. I have the most accurate neighborhood scout is 2021. The police department 2020 crime report for 2019. They've got that. They do have that actually. The police department does have a crime report.
Neighborhood scout.
So I see another one. It's called crimegrade.org, the safest and most dangerous places in Fall River. They've got that too.
Yeah.
So the dark green areas are the safest. F, which is red, which is the most dangerous. Yeah, this costs the taxpayer too.
Yeah. That costs the taxpayer all kinds of money.
So the overall crime rate grade, according to this, is a C. So it's average. They give it an average.
Is that the state one or is that the federal one?
No. That's another. Another one gives it a D plus based on violent and property crime rates.
It's crimes are horrible over here. And
The police don't really get a good rate either. So the assaults are high. The assaults are really high.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, they're very compared to the national average. They're really high.
Very high over here. You know, I mean, it's the calls
So
over here.
basically, so the violent crime level is high in Fall River.
Yeah, very high.
Which is assaults, which are assaults. So that's on the high side. And
domestic violence,
assaults.
Assaults. Yeah. I'm trying to think of something else too.
People hit each other. You know, like you said, the knives. That's all assault. Punching. That's all violent crimes. Guns. That's that's on the high side.
Yeah, domestic assaults.
So, you find these sources and you put them out there. You put them on the post on Facebook. You show them or talk about them like on your podcast right now. And you say, Fall River has this many crimes compared to the national average. The police, they don't get a very good grade.
No, they don't. The police don't get a good grade.
You can do all these things because I know you're concerned about safety.
I am. I'm a big fan of safety. Believe me, public safety.
So
I'm a big fan of that.
I think you should focus on that a little bit and show the statistics to everybody, especially in Fall River, where I'm sure that they're curious and want to know if that's true.
Can you send me the link?
Yeah. And there's a bunch. There's a bunch, and they all do it differently. But it seems to be consistent with violent crime, which are the assaults. So
yeah, because next Wednesday we'll consist. Next Wednesday we both of us will consistent. So
you have to look at all the data, and you have to say this one did this one says this one says that one, and then you can come to a conclusion, and you can say, yeah, there is an issue here in Fall River with crime. There is an issue.
So yeah, if you send me that, I can talk. I'll talk about that next week. Again.
So I will send you the one I just found. I'll send it on Messenger.
Yeah, on my messenger.
Here's one. I mean, like I said, there's a bunch.
No, that's right. Just send them over. I don't mind. Just want to take a look at them. Oh, there's another one. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna send you the neighborhood one, neighborhood scout.
Yeah. Yeah, the neighborhood scout. Yeah, for mass crime rates, statistics.
And then I'm going to show you the police department's one as well and see what they say. They have 2023. The Fall River Police Department has 2023 crime reports. I sent you that as well.
Let me take a look at that. Wow, 2023 crime reports. Let me open one up and see.
Yeah, the year end. This is their crime report.
Yeah, this is when let me see. Oh, the year ends. Oh, come on. Load. Mental. Oh yeah, I see this one. Oh, these are about retirements.
All right, here it is. Here they finally found it.
Yeah, the crime rates are horrible here, especially 2023 and 2022 and 2021.
Let's see what they say. This is 2023. Part A crimes fall into two categories: violent and property. Violent Part A crimes consist of murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. Property Part A crimes are burglary, larceny, motor vehicle theft, and arson. Following is a breakdown of Part A crimes committed in 2023 as compared to 2018 to 2020. In 2023, there were 2,100 Part A crimes committed, which is a decrease from 2022. This represents a 23.13% decrease in Part A crimes from 2022 to 2023. So there's a decrease of about 20%, they say, of these particular crimes, of violent crimes.
Violent crimes, domestic violence, burglary, larceny, arson. I'm looking at the content.
It doesn't say domestic violence. There's a murder, rape.
I know. I'm just looking at the contents over here.
So murder in 2019 was high, but 2023 was higher than 2022.
Murder.
Sexual assaults went down compared to 2022, but
that could go back up again.
Robbery went down. And then they have the stats on knife, firearm, other, and unknown. They got that too. Person versus commercial robberies. Which also seem to have, the commercial ones went down. Aggravated assaults.
I'll bet you. What is that? How high is that?
Well, it says plus almost 3%.
I think it's a little bit higher than that. Right now.
I don't know why it says plus. Yeah, it says plus.
I don't like the plus. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
That's very vague to me. When they say plus, it's vague.
Larceny. Something went up. December. They got the months too.
Yeah.
and shows that as well. And they got a map, motor vehicle theft. And they even have the makes of the cars and where that happens. Jeez. Arrests,
Yeah.
physical arrests. Look at all this. Wow. Firearm arrests, seizures, drug arrests. They went up.
What about the overdose arrest? Overdose.
The drug arrests went up.
Yeah. See, they went up. Yeah.
The calls for service also went up.
Holy shit! Damn.
Yeah, do you see them all? Oh my god!
Yeah, it's. I was just going through it right now. I was
It's
just
like
going
54 pages of that.
54.
There's 54 of that on that report, 2023 crime report from Fall River.
54 pages. Yeah,
It's 54
I'm
pages.
looking at it right now.
Yeah, so there's a lot of information on that, and you can see the graphs as well.
I'm just trying to get.
Well, I don't, again, I don't know if they're telling the truth. They could fudge the numbers. You just don't know.
Of course, man. Yeah. Police department. Yeah, of course. They could.
All the numbers and everything that, you got to wonder how they came up with this, with the statistics, because they can change it if they want to. They can change it if they want.
Yeah, of course.
That's another game that they play. But I would say go by your own observation and what you see.
Oh yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, right here. The where it says crime 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Violence 924. And then it went to 739 in 2019. Then in 2020, then murder, robbery, the rape thing, 51, 52, 54 in 2020, and 41. The numbers, I think the numbers, I see a lot of pluses in there. Aggravated assault, 690.
Well, I think they're giving you the exact numbers. Then you got to go look at the other ones, and they give you an overall picture of they grade, F, A, C. One gave Fall River a C, which is average. Crime rate is like average. It's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. So you gotta look at all those and how they got the numbers. When did they get them? Is it up to date? Well, let's just put it this way. Fall River, it seems like it is not the safest place to be in.
No, Fall River is not.
Okay, so, but there are, I guess, some sections that are safer than others. So that's another thing too. Then maybe it depends where you live in Fall River, where the crime is not as high as in other places.
Yep. Burglary in 2018. Let's see. Burglary in 2018. The burglary went from 436 in 2018. Then in 2019 it went to 575. Then in 2020 it went to 456. Then it went to 494 in 2021. And 2022 it went to 582. Then average of 2018 and 2022, 508.6. Then it got worse after that. And normal range, it's in the normal range, 44,969. I'm just trying to read the numbers out. Am I doing a good job with it? 2020.
Well, I'm not looking at it, but people can, if they want to know, they can go on the website and they can find these numbers.
Yeah, they could.
But you can talk about it as well, and pick something, not all of them because it's confusing. Just pick one and focus in on something, and and you can bring it up to the city council as well. You can say, look.
Yeah. Well, I have a city council listening right now, so.
And tell them like what you see in the report and all that stuff, and maybe they can help you out.
Asking the city council is like asking the city council is asking my asking my nephew to my 5-year-old nephew to help me out.
Well, that's funny. Okay, you know what? It's almost been 3 hours. Let's wrap it up. This has been good.
Yeah, wrap it up. Let's wrap this up. So 3 hours. And
that's a while. Well, I like the hour. I like your what is it, CJ and Chip. They do an hour and it's done.
All right,
you gotta figure out how to do that.
This is already. Well, we already did an hour, and let's wrap this up. And
that's right. We've done more than an hour.
So let's I want to.
Now you've got you have to have the statistics. You read through it, see what you can make out of it, and go from there and see if you agree with it, you don't agree with it. I don't know. But
all right. So so this is Elisa, thanks a lot for coming on again. And
thanks for inviting me again.
And hey, you'll be on next Wednesday. I'll be, and so that way we can talk more. That way we can talk more about the statistics and talk a little bit more about Fall River and Swampscott, and talk more about
the governor's race, the
governor's race, and the mayor's race and city council race going on. We have, and we'll talk about more about the crimes and stuff, and so. But so people get out there and run for office. If you're an independent, get out there and run, and try to make a difference of the community, because again, we speak on all these issues that we were talking about today about the crimes and as Chip and CJ say, stay angry. As Chip and Chip and CJ says, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Hold them accountable. Hold them accountable because of what they say and what they do. Because these people are crazy. They'll run you over, which they have done. Run you over with their car if they had a chance to. Okay? So be careful, be safe out there, and hold your politicians accountable for what they say and what they do and what they don't do. So, and get out there and vote. Don't get out there and vote. Right. Stop voting for the same people in here. That's right. Right. So, Annalisa, we will see you again next week. And let you know what I think about these issues. Yes, okay? Yes. It'll be fun. Okay. All right. Talk to you later. Thank you. Good night, Fall River Media News. Make sure go visit Annalisa too, because Annalisa is always on live all the time. She talks about different stuff too. Go listen to her as well. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Love you all. Bye. 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 Bye.